Hey Rams, today we are solving equations and inequalities with multiplying and dividing. Okay, your standard today is 6.10a, model and solve one variable, one-step equations and inequalities that represent problems including geometric concepts. Okay, when multiplying or dividing a negative, you must flip the inequality sign. And we're going to do a few examples here shortly. And so you will see what we mean by that. When you flip the inequality sign, when you're multiplying or dividing a negative, you must flip the inequality sign. Okay, looking here at multiplication. All the ways we see multiplication is when the number is smooshed up to the variable. That means that multiplication is going on right there. Also, when a number is smooshed up with parentheses next to it and there's no operation in between them, that also means that multiplication is going on right there. Next, of course, we have seen this in 6th grade math a lot. When there is a variable in the numerator and a number in the denominator, that means that division is going on there. So this means C divided by 4. That means some number is being divided by 4 to get an answer. Okay, here we go. So remember, when we are solving equations, we use inverse operations. Same thing as adding and subtracting. We're going to use inverse operations. Okay, so let's identify what operation is going on right here. Well, it's multiplication. See how the number is smooshed up to the variable with no operation in between? That means that I'm multiplying some number by 5 to get 35. So what is the inverse operation of multiplication? It's division. So I'm going to divide each side by 5. So I'm going to divide by 5 and divide by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, so I'm left with 1d, which is just d. So d equals, and then 35 divided by 5 is 7. So my answer is 7. So if I was going to graph that, it would be d equals 7. So it'd just be a closed circle on 7. Okay, now here we are with the inequality sign when we are going to flip it. I have negative 2/10 y is less than 1 8/10. Okay, so let me identify what operation is going on here. So we're multiplying. So in order for me to solve for y, I'm going to use the inverse operation, which is division. So I'm going to divide by negative 2/10. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm going to divide by negative 2/10. Okay, negative 2/10 divided by negative 2/10 is 1. So these cancel out. I get 1y, which is just y. Now I have to flip the inequality sign because I'm dividing by a negative. So this turns into y is greater than negative 9. And that'll be open circle. And since y is greater than negative 9, I'm going to shade it to the right, and it will go this way. All right. Which number could not be a solution for x? Could not be a solution for x. Okay, so how do I know if it would be a solution for x or not? Well, all I do is I substitute the numbers in for x and see if they are, when I multiply it to negative 8, I see if if my answer is going to be greater than or equal to 40. So if I have negative 8 times 7, or negative 7, excuse me, that gives me 56 is greater than or equal to 40. That is true, so that is not my answer. Then when I have negative 8 times negative 5, when I go and substitute x for negative 5, I get 40 is greater than or equal to 40. Well, that is true, so that is not my answer. On C, when I do negative 8 times negative 10, I get 80, and 80 is greater than or equal to 40. So that is true. So that one is not my answer, because remember, I'm looking for the one which could not be a solution for x. So let's go substitute x for negative 3 and see if that is going to be a solution. So I have negative 8 times negative 3 is greater than or equal to 40. I get 24 is greater than or equal to 40. Well, that is a false statement. So D is my answer, because that is not a solution for x. Good job, Rams. All right, next page. Here we go. So now we have multiplied on the first page, and now we're going to do division. We're going to solve for division. So what is the inverse operation of division? It is multiplication. So we're going to multiply each side by 3. So I'm going to multiply 3 over here. I'm going to put 3 over 1, which is fine. And I'm going to multiply 3 to one. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm going to multiply by 3 over here. And so my 3's are going to cancel out to 1, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm left with R is greater than or equal to, well, 27 times 3 is 81. So my answer is 81. Now if I want to go back and check my solution, all I have to do is substitute R for 81 and do 81 divided by 3 greater than or equal to 27. And then when I do 81 divided by 3, I have 27 is greater than or equal to 27. So that checks out. Now I'm going to graph R is greater than or equal to 81. That's true. And I'm going to graph it to the right. There we go. All right. That means if I plug in any value for 81 or greater for R and I divide by 3, those numbers will be greater than or equal to 27. Good job, Rams. Okay, here we go. Now, remember, when you're working with a negative number, only when you're multiplying or dividing and you're solving an equation with a negative, you must flip the inequality sign. So here we go. So the inverse operation of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply each side by negative 5/10. Negative 5/10 over 1 times negative 0.5. Okay, so if I were to multiply this straight across, I would get negative 5/10 x over negative 5/10. And if I were to simplify, negative 5/10 divided by negative 5/10 is 1x. That is how I come up with the x if I were to multiply straight across, to show you, in case you were wondering. Now, it's just left with x, because the 1 is just a given. And then my inequality sign flips, because I am multiplying by a negative number. So this would turn into x is greater than, and then a half, negative half times 4 is negative 2. So x is greater than negative 2. So I'm going to go graph that with an open circle, and then I'm going to shade it to the right. And we will be practicing these in class. So if you have any questions, make sure to write down your questions, and in the summary, write what you have learned in your notes. All right, good job, Rams. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you in class.